Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling entirely drained, confused, and questioning your own sanity? You know something is wrong. You can feel it in your gut. But when you try to explain it, the words sound crazy even to you. You aren't crazy, you aren't overly sensitive, and you aren't imagining things. What you are experiencing is the invisible warfare of toxic manipulation. Welcome back to Shadow Psychology. Today, we are dragging the darkness into the light. We are going to deconstruct the 7 dark mind games that toxic people, narcissists, sociopaths, and emotional vampires play to control, diminish, and break you. These aren't accidental misunderstandings. These are calculated, subconscious, and sometimes entirely deliberate strategies designed to hijack your reality. Why do they do it? Power. Toxic individuals survive by feeding on your emotional energy, your self-esteem, and your constant state of imbalance. But here is the secret they don't want you to know. A game only works if you don't know the rules. Once you see the strings, the puppet master loses their power forever. In this deep dive, we aren't just going to look at the tactics. I am going to give you the exact psychological countermeasures to beat them at their own game. By the end of this video, you will have an unbreakable mental armor. If you're ready to take back your mind, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's enter the shadows. We begin with the most insidious, mind-altering game in the toxic playbook. Game number 1. Gaslighting. The term comes from the 1938 play and subsequent movie Gaslight, where a husband subtly manipulates his wife into believing she is going insane by dimming the gas lights in their home and denying that the light has changed when she points it out. Gaslighting is psychological warfare. It is the systematic dismantling of your perception of reality. The toxic person will flat out deny that events happened, twist your words, and accuse you of having a bad memory or being delusional. I never said that. You're making things up again. You're acting crazy. Everyone thinks so. Why is this so destructive? Because it targets your most fundamental survival tool, your own mind. When someone you trust repeatedly tells you that your memory is flawed, cognitive dissonance sets in. Your brain tries to reconcile what you know happened with what the person you love or respect says happened. Over time, to keep the peace, you surrender your reality. You stop trusting your gut. You become entirely dependent on the manipulator to tell you what is real. Let's look at a real-world scenario. Imagine you catch a toxic partner sending inappropriate texts. You confront them. A normal person would apologize or explain. A gaslighter will say, "You're invading my privacy because you're incredibly insecure. It was a joke text and your paranoia is destroying this relationship." Suddenly, you are apologizing. You went from the victim to the villain in 60 seconds. How do you beat a reality warper? You stop arguing about reality. The moment you try to convince a gaslighter of the facts, you are playing their game. They want you exhausted. To beat this, you must use the record and ground technique. First, document your reality. Keep screenshots, write down conversations in a journal, and anchor yourself in hard evidence. But more importantly, change how you engage. When they say, "I never said that," you do not argue. You respond with a flat, emotionless statement. "We remember it differently." Or, "I know what I experienced and I am not debating it." Do not seek their validation for your reality. You do not need their agreement for the truth to be the truth. By refusing to debate, you starve them of the conflict they are trying to create. You build a wall of psychological Teflon where their distortions simply slide off. Silence can be golden. But in the hands of a toxic person, silence is a weapon of mass emotional destruction. Game number 2 is the silent treatment. Now, we need to draw a strict line here. Taking time to cool off after a heated argument is healthy. Saying, "I'm too angry right now, I need a few hours to process this," is emotional maturity. The silent treatment is entirely different. It is punitive. It is an intentional withdrawal of affection, communication, and presence designed to punish you, isolate you, and force you into submission. Neuroscience tells us something terrifying about this. When you are subjected to the silent treatment, your brain registers it in the anterior cingulate cortex, the exact same region of the brain that processes physical pain. Being ignored literally hurts. It triggers a primal fear of abandonment. The toxic person knows this. They go cold. They look right through you as if you were a ghost in your own home. They withhold eye contact. They want you to panic. They want you to chase them, beg for forgiveness, often for something you didn't even do, and grovel just to restore the emotional baseline. They are starving you of connection so that when they finally give you a crumb of attention, you treat it like a feast. If they are starving you, your instinct is to break into the pantry. You want to text them 50 times. You want to yell. Do not do it. To beat the silent treatment, you must employ the vacuum technique. You must completely remove the oxygen from their game. The silent treatment only works if you are bothered by it. The moment they go silent to punish you, you accept the silence as a gift of peace. Do not chase. Do not ask, "What's wrong? Why aren't you talking to me?" Go about your day, read a book, go to the gym, hang out with friends. Act as if their silence is a pleasant, quiet background noise. When the toxic person realizes their withdrawal isn't causing you pain, panic, or submission, the silence loses its power. They will usually break it themselves because they realize they are losing control of you. And when they do finally speak, do not reward them with relief. Treat their return as casually as you treated their absence. You are teaching them that their absence does not destroy you. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, how hard you try, or how much you change, it is never ever enough? Welcome to game number 3, shifting the goalposts. This tactic is prevalent in toxic relationships, and it is rampant in toxic workplaces. The manipulator sets a condition for your success or their approval. If you just cleaned the house more, we wouldn't fight. If you hit these sales numbers, you'll get that promotion. So, you do it. You exhaust yourself. You clean the house flawlessly. You smash the sales numbers. You proudly present your achievement, waiting for the peace or the reward you were promised. And what happens? The goalpost moves. Well, yes, you cleaned the house, but you didn't organize the garage, and you have a bad attitude about it. You hit the numbers, but your teamwork needs improvement before we can talk about a promotion. This is a devastating psychological loop. It is designed to keep you in a state of perpetual inadequacy. If you never reach the finish line, you never gain confidence. If you never gain confidence, you remain dependent on the manipulator's validation. They keep you running on a hamster wheel, burning your energy to fuel their ego. You cannot win a game where the referee is cheating, so you must stop playing. To beat shifting goalposts, you must use the boundary anchor. This requires you to detach your self-worth from their approval. You must define what done looks like for yourself. When you agree to a task or a compromise, define the metrics clearly. If they shift the goalpost, you do not keep running. You stop, plant your feet, and anchor yourself. You say, "We agreed that X was the goal. I have achieved X. I am not going to discuss Y right now." In a relationship, it looks like this. You said you were upset about the dishes. I did them. If you are choosing to be angry about something new, that is your choice, but I'm not going to keep jumping through hoops to make you happy. Then you walk away. You must accept a hard truth: you will never be enough for a toxic person, because their emptiness is a bottomless pit. Stop trying to fill it. Game number 4 preys on your best qualities: your empathy, your compassion, and your conscience. It is the dark art of guilt tripping. Toxic people know that good people hate feeling like they have caused pain. So, the manipulator weaponizes your own morality against you. They play the role of the ultimate victim, the bleeding martyr who sacrifices everything while you supposedly do nothing but take. Guilt trips rarely sound like overt demands. They sound like heavy sighs. They sound like passive-aggressive comments. "Oh, don't worry about me, I'll just stay home alone while you go out and have fun. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. I guess I'm just a terrible mother, partner, friend, since you obviously don't want to spend time with me." This is emotional extortion. They are holding your conscience for ransom. They want you to feel so uncomfortable, so inherently bad, that you will abandon your own needs, your boundaries, and your plans just to alleviate their manufactured suffering. It creates a trauma bond built on obligation rather than love. Guilt is a sticky emotion. To beat it, you have to realize that guilt is only valid when you have actually done something wrong. Setting a boundary, having a life, or saying no is not doing something wrong. When they cast their guilt trip fishing line, use the acknowledge and release method. Do not argue with their victimhood, and whatever you do, do not apologize. Apologizing validates their fake victimhood. Instead, acknowledge what they are saying in a completely neutral tone and release yourself from the responsibility of fixing it. If they say, "I guess I'll just sit here all alone tonight," you respond, "It sounds like you have a quiet night ahead of you. I'll see you tomorrow." If they say, "After everything I've done for you," you respond, "I appreciate what you've done in the past, but I am still not able to lend you that money." You are letting their guilt trip fall on the floor. You don't pick it up. You don't put it in your pocket. You look at it, step over it, and walk out the door. The moment a toxic person realizes they can no longer use guilt to control your actions, they lose one of their heaviest chains. Game number 5 is a favorite of the covert narcissist. It's called Triangulation. Healthy communication is a straight line between two people. If I have a problem with you, I talk to you. But toxic people thrive in chaos. They cannot survive in the calm. So they bring a third party into the dynamic to create jealousy, competition, paranoia, and drama. Triangulation can happen in many ways. In romantic relationships, it's the ex they keep bringing up. "My ex used to love going to the gym with me, it's a shame you don't." In families, it's the golden child versus the scapegoat. "Why can't you be more like your brother? He just bought a new house." In the workplace, it's the toxic boss. "Sarah told me she thinks your performance is slipping, but I defended you." Spoiler alert, Sarah probably never said that. The manipulator sets themselves up as the prize, the judge, or the ultimate authority, while you and the third party are positioned as competitors or enemies. This keeps you off balance. It makes you try harder to win the manipulator's favor. It distracts you from the fact that the manipulator is actually the one causing all the toxicity. Triangulation relies on whispers, secrets, and indirect communication. It dies in the sunlight of direct, honest confrontation. To beat this, you implement the direct line strategy. Refuse to participate in the triangle. If they compare you to an ex, you say, "If you prefer how your ex did things, you are free to go back to them. But do not compare me to them again." If they tell you that someone else is talking badly about you, cut the string. Say, "That's interesting. Let's get Sarah in here right now and talk about it together." Watch how fast the manipulator backpedals. Watch the panic in their eyes. Never compete for someone's love or respect. The moment someone makes you feel like you are in a competition for their loyalty, forfeit the game. The prize is a mirage. By stepping out of the triangle, you collapse the manipulator's entire structure. Game number 6 is the most emotionally violent game on this list. It is a 2-part cycle, love bombing followed by devaluation. This is how cults recruit, and it is how extreme narcissists trap their victims. Phase 1, love bombing. When you first meet them, they don't just like you, they are obsessed with you. You are their soulmate. They shower you with compliments, gifts, and grand gestures. They mirror your interests. They text you good morning and good night. It feels like a movie. It feels too good to be true. And that's because it is. This is not love. This is data collection, and it is bait. They are flooding your brain with dopamine. They are making you chemically addicted to their validation. Then comes phase 2, devaluation. Once they know you are hooked, the mask slips. The affection stops. Suddenly, the quirks they used to find adorable are now annoying. They become critical, cold, and dismissive. Because you're addicted to the love bombing phase, your brain panics. You think, "What did I do wrong? How can I get that perfect person back?" You bend over backward, sacrificing your self-esteem trying to resurrect a ghost. But that perfect person never existed. It was a character they played to trap you. Beating this requires you to override your emotions with radical logic. You must employ the pace and space rule. When you meet someone new, be highly suspicious of forced, rapid intimacy. If someone is calling you their soulmate after 2 weeks, that is not a red flag, that is a siren. You control the pace. Slow it down. Say, I really enjoy spending time with you, but I like to take things slow. A healthy person will respect this boundary. A toxic person will become frustrated, angry, or try to guilt trip you because their trap relies on speed. If you are already in the devaluation phase, you must recognize that the love bomber is gone forever. Stop trying to fix yourself to please them. Accept that the devaluation is not a reflection of your worth. It is the revelation of their true pathology. Cut the cord and go, no contact. Protect your peace. We have reached the final game. Game number 7, projection. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism where a person subconsciously denies their own negative attributes, flaws, or actions by attributing them to someone else. But toxic people use it as an offensive weapon. If a toxic person is cheating on you, they will suddenly become hyper-paranoid and accuse you of cheating. If they are lying, they will tell you that you are dishonest. If they are manipulating the conversation, they will scream, "Stop trying to manipulate me." It is maddening. You find yourself constantly on the defensive, explaining why you aren't doing the very thing that they are doing. It is the ultimate smokescreen. While you are busy defending your character, they are getting away with murder in the background. To defeat projection, you must realize that a toxic person's accusations are actually confessions. When they accuse you, they are handing you a map of their own dark psyche. You use the reflective shield. Do not defend yourself against baseless accusations. Defending yourself makes it seem like their accusation has merit. Instead, hold up a mirror. When they yell, "You are so selfish," you do not say, "No, I'm not. Look at all I do for you." You say calmly, "It is interesting that you see it that way." Or, "I think you are confusing my actions with your own." Detach emotionally. Observe them as if you are a scientist studying a strange creature. Let their words bounce off your shield and land right back at their feet. When you refuse to absorb their projected toxicity, they are forced to choke on it themselves. Gaslighting. The silent treatment. Shifting goalposts. Guilt tripping, triangulation, love bombing, projection. These are the 7 dark games of the toxic mind. But notice something. Every single one of these games requires your participation to work. They require you to doubt yourself, to chase them, to feel guilty, to compete, to rush, or to defend yourself. You hold the power. The moment you recognize the tactic, you can step off the game board. You are not a pawn in someone else's twisted psychology. You are the architect of your own reality. It takes immense courage to stand up to a manipulator. It takes strength to tolerate their anger when you finally set a boundary. But on the other side of that discomfort is your freedom, your sanity, your peace. If this video opened your eyes today, if you recognized any of these games in your own life, I want you to make a promise to yourself right now in the comments below. Type, "I refuse to play." Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to that friend who is doubting their sanity. Let's build a community here at Shadow Psychology that is immune to manipulation. Hit subscribe, leave a like to appease the algorithm, and remember, the shadows only have power if you are afraid to turn on the light.